Hi, I'm Sara Gutterman, CEO of Green Builder Media, and I'm here today with Steve Herbert, the Director of Global Business Development from Samsung SmartThings. Hi, Steve.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me.
You are one of my favorite people in the smart home space, primarily because you've been in it for so long. You were one of the original people that I met over a decade ago, who was really focused on evolving the ecosystem of smart home technologies so that it wasn't just about audio and visual, which is a nice functionality, but really expanded beyond that. And clearly, over the last decade, since we've been friends and colleagues, the industry has evolved substantially. So can you talk a little bit about where the industry is today and some of the activations and use cases that you're most excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. It has evolved quite a bit. I mean, it's evolved in the type of user. It originally started out as being something that, DIY users wanted to have some smart devices in their home and they were doing it themselves. This evolved, in part because systems had always prior to that been really, really expensive. And, so there was an effort to make it more affordable and available to everybody. We've seen that just your average consumers started to do this. Then we started to see builders adopt it in single family homes as a way to elevate the value of the home and the experience to the user and separate it from single family homes. Now we're seeing it smart home become smart apartment and moving into the multifamily space. And we'll see it in other markets as well. And I think that the key to all of that has just been this constant evolution and innovation by the players in here to see what's next, what can we do next, what's the next evolution, what's the next value that we can provide. As you mentioned initially, it was things like just connecting a light or a door or a window. And now it's much more comprehensive. We have smart appliances, Samsung offers those. We have smart TVs, right? And we have other systems that are now integrated into the smart home that aren't specific devices, but other systems. In multifamily, SmartThings has to integrate with many other systems that the property uses in order to fully leverage the smart home for all the potential benefits. The evolution is happening not in just where smart home is being used, but what it can do, and that's expanding as well. And I think the future is bright, and we're going to see lots of new, wonderful innovations coming. We'll probably talk about some of them here that we've been working on as well around energy and air quality and things like that.
Well, so that's a great segue to my next question, which is about energy management. Clearly, we're seeing that demand-side energy management, peak load shifting, time of use pricing on behalf of the utilities is becoming an essential part of the pathway towards net zero and electrification. So can you talk a little bit about energy monitoring and the connectivity between energy management and smart home systems?
Yeah, it's a really exciting development for the smart home because it just made sense. We have all these devices and systems that are communicating to the smart home environment and being controlled and automated. And energy wasn't part of that. But energy is one of the biggest concerns of the homeowner. How to save it, how to be greener for the planet. How to change the way that we live in our homes to be more efficient. And same with things like air quality. The ability to control the health of your living environment is really, really crucial to, the way that we live. And so it's really important for people, these two elements, and yet the smart home had never addressed them before. So when you look at something like a Samsung SmartThings that has the ability to automate things, one of the big opportunities in energy is to take user behavior out of the equation. A builder, for example, can make a home more efficient with thicker, better insulated walls, with more efficient appliances and other systems. But they can't necessarily do anything about the user's behavior. And sometimes that can make all the difference in the world. Where smart home comes in is that smart home can take and automate this for the homeowner so that they don't really have to lift a finger. They just need to set it and forget it. and then the home will save energy automatically. And we have a number of tools that do that. One of the first things that we did was just something called geofencing. Like when you leave your home knows it, and so it can turn down the heat. And similarly, when you get back, it prepares the home for your arrival as you enter that geofence. So that was a really, really big addition to energy management in the home. But still, people didn't really know how much they were spending or where they were spending their money on energy. And so we created something called SmartThings Energy, which basically gives you a day-by-day view, by week, by month, that you can actually see where you spent energy in the home. This is called disaggregation. It's going to tell you not just how much you spent overall, which you get from your bill, but where you spend it. And it tells you things that can be really, really useful to you, like, oh, wow, I'm wasting a lot of energy during this period of the day. And that's not necessary. So I'm going to automate that out. And it can help you do things like that. But in the future, we need to make it even more useful. So just like the rest of the smart home has evolved, SmartThings Energy and energy management in the smart home is going to evolve as well. One of the big areas where that we have an opportunity to change people's lives and change the way that the country uses energy is by connecting it to the utility. Because right now, we don't have a smart grid. I think, we all want to have a smart grid, but a smart grid requires a level of communication that currently doesn't exist between the home and the utility. And so one of the things that we've got to do is make that possible. Now, there have been a lot of utility programs out there that have focused on a thermostat and said, look, 50% of your home's energy use is really in the heating and cooling. So let's focus on the thermostat. We'll offer you a rebate, get you a smart thermostat, and then that's going to change behavior. And it has. It's been a good thing. But it's just one element of the home. One of the great things about SmartThings Energy is you can impact energy use across the entire home because it's a smart home and everything's connected in it. And so we look at that as being a huge opportunity by just visualizing it for people. But then by connecting it with the utility can create programs that incentivize people to spend less on energy, right? So they do that now through demand response programs where they say, hey, if you're part of this program, we'll give you a lower rate all month long, but you have to give us control during this period of time. For some users, that's a problem. They don't like that. They don't like giving up control. But in a SmartThings deployment where we're connected to the utility, we can potentially give that user the ability to configure how they want their home to respond. And if the utility has a program that benefits them more for saving more, then we can create a benefit without the cost of feeling like you're losing control. And if they have what we call time of use rates, what that means is that you charge a different rate at different parts of the day to avoid overloading the utility during peak hours. We can actually automate the home to do things like defer a load of dishes or laundry until after that period is over, and you'll save the difference in the electrical rate per kilowatt for the energy that you've deferred until after that rate period is over. So instead of paying 15 cents a kilowatt hour for your load of laundry or dishes, you might spend 8. And that builds up over time and can save you a lot of money. So there's a couple different ways that we're doing it, and we're looking at the entire spectrum of the U.S. utility industry to find lots of different ways that we can be effective, including, for instance, utility programs that focus on new construction and home builders and creating programs where they provide the smart home in the home ready to go with energy management capabilities so that on day one of using the home, you're able to participate in those utility programs, save money, but also you're giving now the utility more levers to control energy supply and create a smarter grid.
It's just fascinating to see how quickly this whole space is evolving and how much smarter energy management is becoming day by day. So thank you for your work on that front. COVID, switching gears a little bit, COVID has brought the concept of healthy home to the forefront of our national dialogue. And so indoor air quality and integrated IAQ systems, we've seen a big surge in interest and adoption of those. Can you talk a little bit about integrated and proactive indoor air quality systems, and why that now is so important with respect to maintaining healthy homes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think builders in particular have been focused on health and wellness because so many things can impact it. The building products that go into the home can off-gas elements that are just sitting in your home. And when we build homes that are particularly energy efficient, they have to be able to maintain less airflow in and out of the home. And so what can happen is these pollutants that come up in the home, and they can be from many different sources, can just remain there and not be expelled from the home through a normal aspiration, through the walls of the home. And so we have to find ways to mechanically get them out. Air purifiers, like Samsung offers an air purifier that's connected to SmartThings, can actually reduce the pollutants in the air. It can take out volatile organic chemicals. It can take out small particles of dust. And that's a really, really wonderful thing. If you have allergies, or other health issues that are impacted by the air quality, it can really improve your quality of life. So we have something in SmartThings actually that's called SmartThings Air, and it can be connected to air quality sensors that you put in your home that will actually tell you what the level of certain pollutants are in the air, can alert you to it, can kick on the air purifier for you automatically. And this is going to really, really help a lot. We're also at Samsung really committed to doing this in all of our products. So you might look at, our washing machines, which are designed to pull out any kind of, dust mites or allergens and things during that process and kill it completely. So throughout our entire product line, we're really actually trying to address health and wellness issues. But in the smart home, it definitely, by automating air quality, is the number one factor.
And I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about water, given that water is really one of the most urgent topics of our moment. Clearly we're kind of solving for energy. We have solutions for IAQ, as you've just explained. And we're seeing an increase in leak detection and water management technologies. But can you just talk a little bit about what is happening on the waterfront as well?
Yeah, water is super important, obviously. I think that conservation of water resources is really, really, I live in Colorado, and it's a super big topic here because we see the effects of it in not just Colorado, but in other states, really across the country. What happens in Colorado affects people in Arizona and Southern California, Texas, and all of other places. I think one of the things that we can do here in the smart home is there are devices called leak or flow sensors that can actually detect small changes in the flow of water that could indicate a leak that people might not even be aware of. And it could just be a small drip, drip, drip that doesn't create a lot of damage, but it can, over the long haul, can obviously cause a lot of water loss. We're seeing things like smart water heaters that know roughly when you're going to take showers in the morning and preheat the water so that you're not turning on the tap and waiting 60 seconds for the hot water to come out, literally dumping all that water down the drain in the process. That's a wonderful technology. And we're also seeing leak detection being not only an important factor for the sake of damage prevention, like insurance damage. The number one damage that you get in a home typically is water damage. And so being able to detect at the early stage and have your smart home automatically turn the water supply off to the house is an amazing feature and capability of the smart home that's developed over the years. And with SmartThings Energy, we're looking to expand the number of things that we can monitor in the home to not just include energy, but to include natural gas or some other form of energy, and also water, so that we have the ability to track that and show the consumer how much they're using and where they might save. We also integrate, for instance, with sprinkler controllers that are designed to, based on the weather, to automatically change their watering schedule so that if it's rained, it won't water. If it's about to rain, it won't water. And it keeps a track of the humidity in the soil. And things like that are just amazing technologies for water conservation that the smart home has brought to the market.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So many exciting use cases and applications here. Are there any other use cases or applications that you're excited about that either you have in the market today or that you're developing that you can tell us about?
Well, I think one of the things I'm kind of excited about is what we call car-to-home connection. So putting SmartThings in the car so that, through your infotainment system in your car, you can open your garage, you could change the heating and air controls in the house to get it ready when you're coming home, something like that. Or, simply to check on things when you're away, you're on the way to the airport, whatever the case might be, having that control from the car is a new element of connectivity. We're away from our homes so much these days, and so the ability to stay connected to our family and to what's going on in the home, I think, is really important. We see artificial intelligence being a new technology that's being applied in the smart home to improve the quality of the experience. Right now it's a very much a pre-programmed experience. You tell your home exactly what you want it to do under certain conditions at certain times. But having your home be able to put two and two together to have a better understanding of what's happening in the home and then to respond more specifically to that is the next generation of the way we'll automate the home. And identifying particular people at the doorbell is something that some companies are working on right now. Others, of course, are working on artificial intelligence to anticipate or to interpret what you're saying. Like five different people will say the same thing 5 different ways, but voice control systems use artificial intelligence to figure out that they're actually all asking for the same thing, right? So we'll see this technology continue to be a bigger part of the smart home in different ways. And then you might also see robotics, this is the first year Samsung launched a robotic product, our JetBot vacuum, that actually has a camera on board that you can just drive it around your home to see what's causing a ruckus. Did somebody open the back door? Drive your vacuum over there and check it out with the camera. I mean, so robots, obviously that's a kind of a very simple one purpose type of robot, but we probably will see robotics enter the conversation at some point soon and be able to do things in an automated fashion for us and have that be part of the smart home experience.
Wonderful, Steve. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise and your insights. Fascinating stuff, and just really appreciate you being here with us today.
Thanks for the opportunity, Sarah. Always enjoy that.